Hi girls, this is a video detailing the process of photosynthesis. Make sure as you're going through this video that you are using your Cornell notes for photosynthesis. This is going to be checked when you return to class. So make sure you answer all of these questions and you bring this and the summary of these notes with you to class the next time we meet. So let's go to the notes. So let's start with photosynthesis. And just a brief review of where this energy starts before we go into photosynthesis. So just a review from ecology, energy will always flow through the ecosystem. So far we have looked at the different trophic level. Autotrophs are the base and stability of this ecosystem. Autotrophs are going to be 10 times greater than the number of primary consumers, 10 times greater than the primary consumers will be 10 times greater than the number of secondary, and the secondary will be 10 times greater than the number of tertiary. This will make a very stable ecosystem. So without these producers, we wouldn't have enough energy to support all of this life. And please note that all this energy is going to start with the sun. Okay, and then it will move throughout these trophic levels. See the arrow pointing to the organism that is receiving that energy. What is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process of converting light energy into chemical energy. And when we think about chemical energy, you want to think about the sugar molecule. So glucose in particular is what's going to be formed. So the light energy from sun can be taken in by sunflowers or any type of plant, algae, which is a type of protist, or even prokaryotic organisms like cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria are one of the early ancestors of modern day, all modern day autotrophs. And remember just from earlier this week, autotroph, the auto self, troph feeder, it's a self feeder. Where does photosynthesis occur? Photosynthesis in plants, which we are going to focus our energy on, will occur in the leaf. And within the leaf, we can look actually into a plant cell and then into the organelle, the chloroplast within the plant cell. So if we look here, we have the leaf, the primary site of photosynthesis. We take a cross section of that. You can see all these little plant cells. Photosynthesis will take place in the mesophyll cells. So those are the cells in the interior of this leaf. Within the cells, you'll be able to find the organelle, the chloroplast. You've done a little bit of you've studied the plant cells and looked into what the chloroplast does. We're going to look a little bit further into the structure of the chloroplast. Note that there is both an outer and an inner membrane. Okay, this outer and inner membrane is going to separate the plant cell from where photosynthesis is actually taking place. So within the chloroplast, we have the stroma, that's just the fluid that suspends these little granum, or grana plural. The granum down here are made up of little thylakoids. Thylakoids are almost like little pillows, little sacs, where the photosynthesis is actually going to take place. So you can see here they're surrounded by little membranes, and within them we call it the thylakoid compartment. So this is where energy from the sun is going to be absorbed by pigments in the thylakoid membrane. So let's focus a little bit more on the light. So plants will absorb visible light. Visible light is the light wavelengths that we can see, 380 nanometers to 750 nanometers. This is that Roy G. Biv color. So you have your red, your orange, your yellow, your green, your blue, your indigo, and your violet. Violet light is actually the highest energy light, and it has the shortest wavelength. Red has the lowest energy and the longest wavelength. And this light can be absorbed by plant cells. One thing to keep in mind when you're thinking about plants, the light that is absorbed is a little bit different than the light that's going to be reflected. So any of the colors that you can see, so if you see a green leaf, that means that every other wavelength of light is being absorbed and the green wavelengths are being reflected. So let's look into that a little bit more. So the light is the visible spectrum of electromagnetic radiation. Roy G. Biv is going to make up your white light. So when we see white light shining on a plant, why does it appear green? Just as I was saying before, the plant is actually going to reflect the green wavelengths of light. So you can see here all the colors of white light coming into the plant. These green pigments will actually reflect that green light. That's why you actually will see green, because that light is being reflected into your eyes, and that's what your eyes are able to pick up. All the other wavelengths of light will be absorbed. Other than light, what else is needed to perform photosynthesis? So every plant will need water and carbon dioxide in addition to light to go through photosynthesis. The final equation for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide plus water plus light, is going to yield glucose and oxygen. So when we balance this, you need 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 6 water molecules, will yield 1 glucose molecule, C6H12O6, and this will also produce 6 oxygen molecules. Why is sugar produced? Why is that the chemical energy that's formed? It's formed because this is a very stable organic food. Sugar is very stable and it won't decompose and break down. So plants can make this sugar and save this energy for later whenever it's needed. Oxygen that's also produced will exit the plant through the stomata. Some of it can be used for cellular respiration, but the majority of it is going to exit, and that's what other organisms, heterotrophs that only go through cellular respiration, can use. So why and how is light able to power photosynthesis? So I said that solar energy was absorbed by the plant and able to make this chemical energy, but how exactly does this happen? The way that this happens is that when light is absorbed by the plant's pigments in the chloroplast, it's actually going to excite electrons. So if you look down here, we will get into this much more when we actually look at the reactions. But the sunlight's coming down, and it's causing these electrons to go from a low energy scale or low energy state to a very high energy state. So you can see energy on the side, from a very low energy point to a very high energy point. And this excited electron is going to power photosynthesis, or it's going to at least start the process of photosynthesis. So one thing that we're going to focus on is the colored pigments found in plants. So what colors are going to be found in plants, and how do we know this? So we are going to be looking at why leaves are going to change color in the fall and what pigments we're going to actually find in plants. So you may notice or see the plants changing outside. So you're going to see that there's green, there's yellow, there's orange, and there's red pigments appearing right now. But we're going to talk about in class in the next couple of days what pigments these actually are and why we see these changes appearing. So make sure that you have completed this worksheet, and we will be talking about plant pigments the next time we meet. Please bring any additional questions you have with you to class as well.